So let's set the scene a little here. Just we're in Arizona, little R2C2 road trip with the shift, courtesy of MLB Players.
This is our first road trip.
It is. It really is. It's kind of cool, huh?
Yeah, this is nice.
Yeah, kind of. Do you think we have more in the future?
Yeah.
All right, nice. Yeah, more R2C2 road trips to come. We're in Arizona where the Cactus League goes on, and we get to talk to just a bunch of awesome dudes here. It's nice getting to hang and actually spend some time in spring training. It's also looser, right? It's like everyone's more relaxed during spring, you know? I mean, they're always loose on R2C2, but especially so in spring. And Justin Upton, we are so pumped to have you with us. Thank you for being with us, man.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
So, Justin, how about how long have you known this dude?
I've been bumping into CC for how long?
Man, since you've been in the league,
Yeah,
probably.
since 2007. Yeah.
Really?
It's been a while.
Yeah, because me and BJ are close. So
Yeah.
I've been knowing, forever.
So what was it like when you see Justin coming into the league? Are you like reaching out then to kind of like welcome him to the show, or how does the relationship start when you're not on the same team?
No, it's always different with pitchers because I'm a pitcher. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you just bump into each other out on the field or whatever, stuff like that. But yeah, like with pitching and hitters, like you never know, how that dynamic's gonna work out.
The relationship may be rocky or it may be good. Yeah. Depends on how those at bats go. Yeah. Justin, you're the first overall pick of the draft, right? In 2005.
Yep.
It feels like it's one thing in football, you see like the number one overall pick often has a big impact in the NFL, right? Like in baseball, I feel like because you have so many rounds, it just feels like such a crapshoot. You never know. Like, what does it feel like to know, like, hey, I was the number one overall pick, and you know what? I've made good on that in my big league career. What does that feel like?
It's nice, man, because you'll see it a lot where the guy who's drafted first by a team isn't always the best player.
Yeah.
Like the best player they could have said. It's always the guy with the high upside. And sometimes that guy doesn't make it, and sometimes that guy does make it and have an impact. So, getting there when I did and being able to, I was thrown into a playoff race right out of the gate. So that was, and having an impact right away was nice for me. It kind of gave me that confidence, and then it kind of took off from there.
When you're a number one overall pick, do you feel a certain level of pressure in the minor leagues, like knowing, I got to live up to this?
You know what? You get humbled real fast.
Yeah.
Like when I pulled up in South Bend for the first time my first year, I was like, I'm not in the show. This is not the show. So like it's freezing cold, ain't nobody at your game. You're like, I'm just here playing baseball. I'm just trying to make it. You get brought down to earth real fast. So like the pressure was there, obviously from, when I was in spring training, everybody, the hype was there. But when you leave for South Bend, it's over with.
Nobody even really cares.
Nobody cares.
Like, you're so far away from like your goal.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's weird. I couldn't imagine being the first pick though and having that.
Oh, but you know what? Justin leads us nicely into like the reality of like the minor leagues, right? And just how it is so much different than what you experience at the majors, right?
Yeah, man. It's like you need everything in the minor leagues. Like you need shoes, you need gloves, you need people to take care of you, and nobody's there. You know what I'm saying? Like, in the big leagues, you get too much shit. Too many motherfuckers around, too many shoes, too much gloves. Like it's crazy, man. The drastic, like it's almost like when in the minor leagues you're playing summer ball still with your boys.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
You get close with a lot of those guys.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Like you're bunked up in a bad apartment. Like it's real.
Yeah.
Like that's real life situations out there.
Who is somebody who you met in the minor leagues, Justin, who like to this day is still someone you're close to?
Well, like one of my best friends, CY.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Our first spring training.
Young, yeah.
I was living in extended stay in Tucson. Like he's staying on the rough side of Tucson, and like both of us got hurt at the same time, like near the end of spring. So we were both gonna be in extended spring training, and I didn't even know this dude, like barely even knew him. And then we were both. There's like three of us at the complex. It's like there's nobody there, and we just started vibing, man. Like to this day we talk almost every day.
Wow,
so,
man.
You meet people like it all happened. Everything happened for a reason.
Yeah. What is the like for both of you guys, because I'm thinking about like the minor league cities you have to go to and that. What was either the roughest road trip you had to take in the minors, or like just the most like in the middle of nowhere, like why am I here playing a baseball game place?
Man, I think the hardest road trip definitely was from Akron to Portland, Maine. I think that was like 12 or 13 hours. And I was I just turned 19 when I got to AA. So obviously being the youngest player on the team, I'm sleeping in the middle of the fucking bus. Like I didn't have a seat. Like I wasn't gonna double up, you know what I'm saying? I'm this size, obviously. So I just slept in the middle for like 12 hours, like at the bottom of the bus. That was literally the worst fucking day of my life. It was one of the worst times in my life.
You literally just laying on the floor.
Laying on the floor. Like it was, and nobody gave a fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like this 19-year-old, you're gonna lay here for 13 hours.
Yeah. Right. Now they might be like, we don't know if this is best for the prize shoulder of CC Sabathia.
Yeah, but nobody gave a shit back then. Like,
nobody cares. No.
Dude stepping over you, go take a piss.
Yeah.
CC in the floor again. Like, it's crazy, man. Like we did one of those from Mobile to Orlando, and all I remember is like my head being underneath a chair on a bus, and I'm like, this ain't it. This is far from it. So that like every time you step on the field, you remember that. You like, I don't want to get on no more buses, man. You just play.
Yeah, it's a weird thing, right? Because like in this sport, you know, you get drafted, and it's like you don't know how long you're gonna have to wait till you taste that, right? Like, I mean, it's when you're drafted, it could be
I think
2
you gotta
years,
be
3, 5.
but you got to be drafted in the right situation too to get to the big leagues young.
Yeah,
you know, for me, Indians had no pitching, so they just kind of like fast tracked me. So like maybe I wasn't ready. I could have probably spent a couple more years and a certain amount of levels, but I mean I was grateful that they were just like, you have a good game, we're gonna send you to the next spot. You have a good game, we're gonna send you to the next spot. And I think that kind of helped my confidence. As like when I got to the big leagues at 20 years old, like I'm like, oh, okay, I'm ready to be here. They think so. So you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
you blind. Like you don't really understand like what you're gonna get yourself into night in and night out on the field. Like these are the best players in the world. But when you're 20 years old, you're just like, all right, whatever, let's go. You know, you're playing on pure adrenaline. Because like when I first got called up, I didn't have no clue what I was doing, man.
And you were 19.
I just got moved to the outfield. Yeah. I had no clue what I was doing. It was like balling in the air. I just took off and ran. Yeah. It's like, and later in my career, I started to like slow the game down and really know what I'm doing out there. But at that point, it was just go.
Oh, when you are though, like when you're starting your minor league journey, are you able to just like lock in on, okay, this is where I am. I'm just trying to dominate here day in, day out. Or like, is it hard not to think about like, man, even if I play great, it's going to take me this long to get to the big leagues?
Man, I got lucky to get like, I happened to be playing well. I was in AA when I got called up. Yeah. And I mean, Scott Harrison was hurt. You know, the only reason I got called up, Carlos Quentin got hurt. Yeah. Like otherwise I would have finished my season in AA and gone win about my business. So like, I don't think you even think about it. Like I wasn't even thinking about getting called up when it was truly a surprise when I got called up. Yeah. So like, I think there's like when you're sitting home in the offseason, you're like, dang, I hope I can make it to the big leagues next year. But when you're in the middle of that grind, I don't think you think about it that much. The guys that think about it actually get themselves in trouble because they press, you know?
Yeah.
I think for sure. Like I was always just worried about like, am I good enough at this level? You know what I'm saying? Because I was moving so fast and I'm like, damn, am I ready to be in high A? Like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like it was like some teams where I couldn't get some outs and I'm like, fuck, I don't know if I'm getting past this. You know what I'm saying? So it was less about thinking about pitching in the big league. I couldn't even bring my mind to think about pitching in the big leagues. I was trying to get guys out at Myrtle Beach and shit. You know what I'm saying?
I totally get it, man. But that's good. I mean, do you think guys like let's say a Kyler Murray, for example, or guys who are really talented athletes who have multiple professional sport options. Do you think in their minds they are weighing, if I go play, I don't know, let's say it's NBA or NFL, I'm getting drafted. I'm going right to the pros. If I go to baseball, I'm not going. It's going to take me at least some time, right? Do you think would that be a fact? If you had those options, would that be a factor in your mind as you're making that choice?
I think if I'm Kyler Murray, that's a special situation because like he knew that he was going to be drafted early in the first round as an NFL player. He was going to get an opportunity to play his first year coming out. But I mean, if I'm looking at him, I'm like, I can make this money right away, or I can I can make a little bit, go to the minor leagues, and I may not get an opportunity to get that first contract. So yeah, he's got to think about that. It's like.
That's why I commend somebody like Jeff Samardzija. Like he probably would have been a second round, late first round pick, but he chose to go pitch and play baseball. And I mean, he still ended up getting paid, but like that was a bigger gamble.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, than what Kyler Murray did. Him, gambling on being a pitcher as opposed to being a late first round pick in the NFL.
Yeah, it's a heck of an investment in yourself, right? It is. Justin, how about CeCe alluded before to your brother. And he, I remember watching him like during the Rays, Red Sox, ALCS. I remember just feeling like, you cannot get it. You can't get BJ Upton out.
He had 9 homers that play.
It was crazy, man. Remember how good? What were the battles like, or what was it like growing up and the way you guys were athletically together on the baseball field?
I mean, we're three years apart, so like there's some time like in between us. So. Early on, like our battles in the front yard, that type of stuff, like we got into it. Like there was like fights. Like I'm notorious. Like my mom told me I'm notorious. I don't remember it. I slightly do, but she said I'm notorious. Like I like BJ started on defense and I put up a bunch of runs off of him and then I quit and leave and tell him I won. So like, and he would get all mad and then we're fighting in the house because he didn't get the hit. And like we do stuff like that, man. But like really later on in life, like I just wanted to follow in his footsteps. Like I saw all the stuff he was doing, all the showcases, all the teams and stuff he got to play on. That's what I wanted to do.
That's like that's one way to make sure you never lose. You hit first and then leave before the other guy gets a chance. It's a good way.
Game over.
Yeah, exactly. It's over, man. Sorry, like I'm leaving now. What was your brother's personality like to you? Like how did you guys differ, I guess, in the way you competed or your competitive spirit? Like would he ever pull that kind of stunt on you?
No. like honestly, and my brother, it's crazy, but he was quiet growing up. Like he didn't really mess with nobody, but like he was quiet and confident. Like he knew he was good, but like he didn't talk a whole lot. Me, I was just crazy. Like I was wild. Like I wanted to fight you on the field. I like just a wild child.
Sounds like someone I know.
Yeah, I had the temper. I had the whole thing going on. Like I was just competitive, but he was just the quiet, confident. Do what he does and go home.
What was it like y'all playing together in Atlanta? How was that?
That's a whole different story. Like it was like in the clubhouse. It was like we were at home. Talking shit and like going back and forth. He'd always talk shit to me, and then it'd almost be a fight in the clubhouse. Yeah. But once we got on the field, though, it was like we competing, and we try to be cordial and root for each other. Yeah.
Are you like? I mean, what is it like? How much more invested are you in your brother's at bats though than you would be another teammate? Like that has to be so unique. You're sitting there, he's your teammate and he's your brother.
Right.
Like, I mean, how, like, are you like, I'm not going back to the clubhouse to go take a piss now. I gotta watch my brothers at bat. Like, is it that kind of thing?
Surprisingly, no.
Interesting.
Like it was, I treated him like any other kind of teammate while we were on the field for the most part. Like now in the big situation, he coming up in a big situation, bottom of the ninth or something. I was up there. I was like, I want him to get it done.
Yeah.
But throughout the game, normal at bats, I'll do my own thing or treat him like anybody else. But in that big moment, I want him to step up.
That was Robbie and Sandy. I noticed them.
Oh yeah,
Alomar. And even when they played against each other, they would never even look at each other on the field because Sandy was always catching and Robbie was hitting, so he didn't want people thinking that they were cheating or signs or something. So they literally did not even talk to each other until in the parking lot after. It was crazy, but that's just how competitive they were. And I didn't get a chance to actually be teammates with them because Sandy left in 2001 and Enar was a catcher. But just being around them in spring training and shit, they were teammates more than they were brothers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
That's
I think they
interesting.
kept that dynamic just so people wouldn't feel weird.
Yeah. There's some, like, you think about throughout sports, right? Like, even like what the Harbaugh family must have been going through when it was Ravens, Niners, Super Bowl. Like, who do you root for if you're the parent? Like,
The better team, motherfucker. What you mean? The person that's gonna win.
I ain't gonna set myself up for disappointment.
Spoken like a real
Let me
front
tell you
runner.
something. If Lil C and Carter ever play against each other, I'm rooting for the better team.
That's it?
Yeah.
What if, like,
straight up? I'm not going for no losers, guys.
What if like what if Lil C's won before Carter never has?
I don't give
It's
a
like
damn.
Carter's
I'm going for the
jam.
team that's the best.
Oh my gosh.
That's what jersey you gonna find me in.
Oh my gosh. Oh, poor Carter. So, wait, Justin, what was the experience like for your family when you guys were teammates together?
Man, my parents loved it. I mean, we were an hour flight from home. They were down there all the time. They got to see the kids and stuff all the time. So it was great. It was great for my family. And we always had, like, once a year, the whole family come down, get to check us out. You know, we'd set, because they got it twisted. When we got to Atlanta, they were like, "Oh, well, we can come down there all the time. Just catch you any time for a game." Nah, we had to shut that down immediately. But we had our one family gathering in summer when everybody could get off. We had a whole family down there, get a little section for them and everything. And I think they really enjoyed us being that close to home.
Yeah,
and us being together. So
they're in Virginia still?
In Virginia, yeah.
Yeah.
My whole family's in Virginia.
Yeah. It's funny, like, because people always talk about, I remember Andy Pettit, I think I've referenced this before, but like talking about when he was in Houston, like, and like, being home isn't the best thing. And people are coming out, like, constantly wanting you to do things, whatever. So I could see, like, all of a sudden, you have friends, family. Hey, man, like, I'm nearby. Give me some tickets, whatever. It's like, no.
It ain't, that ain't it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it could be, I could see that, like, if you played in Oakland or something, man.
I would never do that. Like, I don't even think, like, it wouldn't even be possible, man. That would be such a distraction, being that close.
Yeah.
20 minutes from home, San Francisco, Oakland, that would be rough.
That's like me playing in DC. Like, it's I couldn't do it. If I had to choose, I'm like, nah.
It sounds fun.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it sounded fun as a kid. Like, I'd love to play for the A's. But nah, I'm good.
No, you're good. How do you enjoy Anaheim as a city and playing around there?
I mean, I live by the beach. I can't. I can't complain about that. But I don't know. I mean, this normal California traffic. It's tough to get around, but I like it. It doesn't bother me at all. I love the stadium. The weather's perfect. I mean, everything's great. We just need to win.
Yeah.
Like if we could, pack that place out winter, and I don't think there's a better place.
When that team's good, the fans, they show up and it's loud and it's fun. You know what I'm saying?
So loud, man. I remember in 2009 being there for the ALCS and being like, wow, this crowd is rowdy.
It was rocking.
Yeah, it was.
We hadn't won that in a long time, so it was really rocking.
See, I feel like you'd have a problem being an Angel.
I would.
You'd be at Disneyland all the time.
Yeah, I would. Too close.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Justin, do you go at all? Are you a Disney guy at all?
Man, I try to avoid it.
Yeah?
I try to avoid it, man. Like, I could see for a pitcher. If I was a pitcher, like, I go all the time. But
you'd be there 4 days a week.
Yeah, but my legs can't handle all that walking. Like, we try to take my daughter, like, once or twice a year, and I'm trying to skip one of them. Yeah. It's like one of them gonna be in the summer when it's hot. I got an off day, and all I want to do is sit on my couch.
Yeah.
But like that early season one when the weather's still good,
then you good.
Yeah,
right?
I'm in for that one. Yeah.
Have you gotten to Galaxy's Edge, the Star Wars area yet in the new Disneyland?
No, my daughter lasts about 2 hours.
Okay.
She getting older though, so I feel like we're gonna have some longer days there.
Yeah.
But she do all the kiddie rides and we out.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Do you go on the kiddie rides with her though?
Oh yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
You ever notice, like, once you start doing that kind of thing, then you find like kind of like these sleeper rides that you're like this isn't supposed to be for me, but I kind of like this.
Yeah.
Like, like the People Mover at Epcot in Orlando. I started I had to go on it because my sister was pregnant. She could only do certain things. And I'm like, I never went on the People
I don't think
Mover.
I've never been on this
Yeah,
ride.
let me tell you something. Go on it. It's really fun. Like it's
I'm not fucking with that.
No. The People Mover is for you. I'm telling you. Next time you're in Orlando, just check out the People Mover. It's like all throughout, or it's at Magic Kingdom actually. All throughout Magic Kingdom, it's like it's great, but it doesn't. I don't know. I never would have known.
I got to take my daughters in May, so I'm excited for this.
Yeah, I know. That's
Florida?
Yeah.
Yeah, that shit's too big, man.
It's huge, but they got dance competitions. I'm a dance dad now.
Okay.
Obviously not playing baseball, so I gotta go to dance competition.
Now you in on that. All the stuff you missed, you in on that.
Yeah.
You got a
we gonna
dance
see how this
competition,
gonna
a
go.
game every night. You got something now, man.
Man.
I told C that I'm hopping on that trip so that I can also go to the front of the line at Disney World for all the different attractions. That's really
The speed pass?
yeah.
That's speed, man.
That's really what it's all about. Yeah, the guide. Justin, how about when we were talking about this earlier, but like you went through it being a prize free agent, and signing a big deal. How did you kind of like approach that process? And like, were you excited going into it, or were you stressed? And how did it kind of live up to your expectations?
Yeah, I was kind of I was actually excited about it. Like before I left San Diego, I kind of had a feeling that I wasn't going back to San Diego. So at that point, I was like, all right, let me see what's out there. And little did I know, I was surprised there wasn't much out there. I'm sitting around. The winter meetings goes by, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, all right, what's going on, dude? Like somebody's got to come with something that I want, right?
Yeah.
And man, honestly, I got lucky. Late great Illich family. I mean, I really had nothing on the table when he was like, I need a left fielder. And, Al Avila came out and we were able to work something out. And that was a rough offseason. I was like, I don't know what I was at one point, I was getting offered 1-year deals.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I played all this time and did what I did to get a 1-year deal. And I was like, that was frustrating for me. So I was ready to just sit and wait as long as I could. And then, I got lucky with the Tigers coming in and telling me they wanted me to be there.
This is interesting because it's true. Like you wait a long time, right, to get to free agency and get to those moments.
Yeah, and
like,
you think it's gonna be something totally different than what it is.
Yeah,
you play your whole career to be in a position where to feel like you want to pick where you want to play.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it never comes down to that. It always is like it's almost like teams know that this one team wants you. So we're not even gonna offer you a contract because we know that this team's gonna be the highest bidder.
Yeah.
That's how I felt anyway. So it's like no teams even get a chance to you don't get to play. Like, you know what I'm saying? You don't even get to see what's out there or
right.
what
It's
you
not
would
like you're
take.
choosing from 30 teams. You're right.
No.
Right.
Like, you're honestly in free agency, you're lucky if you got 3 teams in on you.
Yeah.
Like
3 real offers. I've never heard anybody have 3 real offers.
Yeah.
Real ones.
Yeah, unless you're the guys like
Garrett Cole.
Yeah. Like
But I bet you he didn't even have $325 million offers.
Well,
Wasn't nobody gonna give him that.
He may not have had that, but he had some real offers on the table. Like,
$290 still
I'm
real.
I'm talking about the average cat out here. Dog. The average cat is like, hey, I got an offer over here, but I'm gonna lie about it to this team, so that maybe they jump on it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's very rare that you got real offers on the table. I didn't have a real offer on the table until beginning of January, like after the winter meetings, after the new year.
Yeah.
Like I was hoping to be signed way before that, and I didn't have a real offer on the table until probably after the new year.
Man, I mean, you've talked about that would stress you out, man.
Yeah, that shit is a trip, man. Free agency is I'm telling you, I always said that. Like, I thought it was gonna be this. I'm flying around and shit, seeing all these teams. Wasn't none of that.
Man, it ain't nothing.
None
like
of that.
Well,
You're just sitting at home stressing.
Man, exactly. Now, do you think, because you brought up the point, Justin, of like, hey, you're waiting your whole career to get to this point. Do you feel like it has to be a point of emphasis for you guys in your next CBA to move up the timeline a little bit on free agency? Or is that something that, does it feel like it needs to be addressed in some way from a player's standpoint, or at least from your guys' standpoint when you look at it right now?
Well, I feel like it's a double-edged sword because there's a hierarchy of it. Like, nobody else was going to sign until Strasburg and Garrett Cole signed. Now, if you push everybody to the back end of this timetable, this theoretical timetable, now you got a whole bunch of dudes without jobs panicking, and it's going to get even worse.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So like you can't there's got to be a better way to do it.
Yeah. But I mean service time.
I don't think you can put a timetable on it because then you have a bunch of guys going to Japan and not having jobs and shit. You know what I'm saying? If you put...
But I mean more so like right now when you're getting your 3 years on a rookie deal and then 3 years of arbitration, right? Before
they could definitely move up the timeline.
Do you feel like that timeline needs to be moved up somewhat?
I mean, I think guys should be free agents after 4 years. Like Aaron Judge should be a free agent.
Well, I mean, when you look at it, like all teams are talking about is, all right, well, his prime is age 26 to 32. Well, a lot of dudes they're 32 when they become a free agent.
Yeah.
So like now they're like, oh, well, here's a 1 year deal. We think you passed your prime.
Right.
Well, if y'all believe that their prime is 26 to 32, well, you're going to have to bump that back. All right, you only get this guy for 4 years for cheap.
Right.
He gets 2 years of rookie contract, 2 years of arbitration, then he gone.
Right.
So now some guys are coming out at 25, 26, 27. Now you got pay gaps for their prime years.
Yeah. Is it...
I think that's going to drive the salaries through the roof, which would be great.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like if you get Aaron Judge...
great for you.
No, it's just
the players.
No, man, hey, bro. Honestly, I'm going to be long gone. I'm going to be long gone by that time.
Them owners making so much money. Like, you get Aaron Judge in his prime of years or whatever, you got to get paid that motherfucker $500 million.
Well, the thing is, too, like, the other part of the argument, I think, from a baseball player's perspective could be this. Like, look, you also have us in your organization for however many years where you're evaluating us, getting to know us. So it's not just like you're evaluating us in the major league years, right? Because like obviously owners don't want to, and it wouldn't be good for business if you're constantly doling out huge money for guys who aren't worth it, right? Because the business would fold if you're spending money on assets that aren't producing. However, it's not like you have a lack of evidence, because you've seen these guys for years in your minor leagues. And now if you're saying 4 years, that's at least still a substantial amount of major league time.
I mean, you know if a guy is going to cut it.
Yeah.
After 2, 3, 4 years.
Yeah.
You know what his role is going to be. So like you'll see a lot of guys falling in a fourth outfielder role. You see guys turn into a utility man a lot earlier. Like teams going to have to make that decision a lot earlier. They know within those first few years, they just wait to make that because they have time. They wait to make that decision on a guy, and where I can bounce him back and forth in the minor leagues and try to change what he does. But now they're gonna have to. That puts pressure on him to make that decision a lot earlier.
Yeah,
and not for nothing, like the guys that they pay early that get the contracts after the couple of years because they know they're not gonna be able to keep them. The Trouts, the whoever else, they put up the numbers, bro.
Yeah, they do
every time. Like there's not. The only bad contracts that have been are free agent guys that have been late.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you get these guys early, pay them.
Yeah. I also think there's something to the idea of like, hey, you guys are, and I understand why, using analytics to prove that these dollars aren't worth this production in these years, right? Well, we can also say on the flip side then, look at the quantifiable production you are getting at these low-cost dollars at the beginning of the career, and it's extending too far, right? Like where you have a 25-year-old who's 3 years away from free agency and has put in 3 MVP caliber years or whatever, and and he's paying
Mookie Betts.
Yeah, right. In the first couple of years.
But also think about this though. Think about the stuff that we don't understand in this analytics. I mean, it could be I don't want to say that. I guess I can't say it.
Yeah.
It could be half of that stuff could be complete bullshit.
Yeah.
It could be them finding ways to degrade players. To downgrade players. They're finding ways. Like if you go looking for it, you're gonna find it. You're gonna find a hole in every dude's game.
Yeah.
So now when I go to talk to you in free agency or arbitration, you've come up with some way to quantify what I don't do well. Like they're gonna find ways to do that regardless. So like you should only take what those numbers that they're coming up with kind of with a grain of salt. Like you can't really base a guy's production on that. You know what I'm saying?
And everybody's analytics is different.
Yep.
Because everybody's program is different and this quantifies this and that. And everybody's shit is different. Every organization is different.
I see it even just like when I broadcast a lot of NBA games and like when I'm preparing for a game and it's like if I use this website, the pace is one thing. If I use NBA.com, it's evaluated differently. And I'm like, okay, well, so this team's, it's not going to vary that much in this particular example, but it's still different, and it's supposed to be the same analytic, but you're still somehow being measured differently within that. But you're right. If you're kind of working backwards, right, where you're like, this is the conclusion I want, you can find evidence for it. Like you just find a way.
I mean, the best example for me is like early in my career when I was just barely an outfielder. Like I was making errors left and right. Like I just didn't know what I was doing out there.
Yeah.
And I was over aggressive. I did crazy stuff in the outfield. I dove for stuff I shouldn't die for. And I won a fielding Bible award, which I think is the Bill James. I won a fielding Bible award, but I don't win the Gold Glove. Like there's discrepancy. Like that tells me everything I need to know. It's like he thought I was a good outfielder, but he didn't.
Yeah,
it's
right.
Like it's all opinion. It's all opinion on guys. So like you can't really put too much in the certain analytics.
But that's what like Larry, he's always hit me with the analytics. Like, man, you're pitching good because the amount of weak contact you get and the percentage is like the lowest in the league. I don't give a fuck because they keep blooping shit right over the shortstop, and I got runners on base. You know what I'm saying? Then I give up a double, and I'm fucking 4 runs in the hole. So I don't give a fuck about weak contact percentage. Don't give me that bullshit. I need fucking outs. I don't
strong.
Fuck that department. I need fucking outs, man. Like seriously, like that shit don't mean
that
nothing.
happened to me last year, dude. I'm batting like 200, and like I can't buy a hit, and they come, oh well, your chase rate's down and your exit velocity's up. I'm like, what the fuck is that doing? Like, what is that doing for me? Nothing. It still says 200 on the board. Like, it's doing nothing for me.
Oh my God.
It's crazy, man.
But you know what's funny about it? Like, what's interesting is like if I'm like management in that case, right? And I'm trying to find underlying reasons for things, and I'm like, well, okay, I'm not going to be results oriented, right? Like these things are good. Like, so maybe it's going to turn. And I'm going to you, and then I'm like, oh, I think I'm going to help you psychologically. And you're like, that's not helping me psychologically.
Nobody want to hear that shit.
No.
Do you guys think like the next generation will be more inclined to like take that information in and kind of feel a certain way about it, or feel as they would want them to feel about it?
Yeah, because that's going to be all they know.
Yeah.
They already are.
Yeah, like when I came up, it was like you either hitting line drives and driving the ball or you're not. Now it's like, his launch angle's great, and like this is what they're working on in the offseason. So like when somebody tells me their launch angle's great, or their exit velocity's up, or they're not chasing the ball, like everybody knows when you're chasing pitches in the dirt and not. Like that's how I came up. Like I know when I'm off balance. I know when I'm swinging the balls in the dirt. Like these guys can quantify it, and their teams are pushing this stuff, and that's all they're gonna ever know.
Yeah.
So they're not gonna have a choice but to be on board with it.
And you hit a ball over a certain amount of, like your exit velocity is over a certain amount, they consider that a win.
Yeah.
I'll give up 25. I'll give up 27 fucking line drives at 115 miles an hour. If they go right to the shortstop, I throw a no hitter.
Yeah.
Fuck? I don't care.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like fuck exit velocity. Is it a hit or not? Cause like
that's why.
nothing else.
Hey, yeah, your exit velocity's down. Yeah, but I'm batting 3 bills. Like you look at David Fletcher, perfect example. Last year, this dude filleted more balls I've ever seen in my life, but he was around 300 the entire year. He was on base all the time.
And I was about to say,
you need that guy.
You need him to be on base. So
Yes.
if he's on base and you coming up and I'm fucking worried about him still in the base, then I'm gonna make a mistake to you.
Right. You
know
need
what I'm saying?
those
Like
guys.
it's crazy, man.
I get it like from an athlete perspective, and I get it from like if you're evaluating the players, because you're trying to make sense of the results, right? And so if it's like if I'm looking at you and I'm like, man, I feel like he's pitching well though, like I don't feel like he's done. He gave up 5 runs back-to-back starts, but I feel like it was, and then I'm looking back and I'm like, yeah, it was all bloops. I get wanting to say, no, I'm going to buy into his 3rd start because I think it's going to turn.
Yeah,
but as a player, I get saying like, I don't care because I'm not getting the results I want, so I don't feel good about it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think it comes down to teams forgetting like the basis of the game. The basis of the game, the team that scores the most points wins.
Yeah.
And like when CeCe
That
goes
is the way
out
it
and he
works.
gives up 4 bloops and he's down 2-0 in the first inning, like his mentality as an athlete is, I didn't keep points off the board. Like he doesn't think about, oh, well, they didn't even hit me hard. No, he don't think about it. He gave up 2 runs. Or if I go up there and I don't get it done with runners in scoring position, we didn't put any points on the board. Like that's just how athletes' minds work.
And guess what? If you go in the locker room after and be like, man, I gave up 4 bloopers, blah, 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 whatever. Don't nobody want to hear that shit. You making excuses, guys.
You're right.
You making fucking excuses. So players don't want to hear that shit at all.
Yeah. I hope that never changes, because one of the things that's worried me when I see like, and Al Leiter actually used to talk about this when he sees like young developing athletes, especially in baseball, like when you hear pitchers, especially with their arms being watched so closely now, and it's like, how was your start? And they're like, I threw 4 innings, I got my work in. It's like, what, you got your work in? Like, how is that now the evaluative tool for if you had a good day or not, right? Like,
that's how they talk to them.
Yeah.
Right. It's crazy.
And you just, it's the game. Like when I roll into spring training, I don't care who we're playing. Like when you go out on the field, you're playing to win. Mm-hmm. I don't care who. Like, yeah, I'm getting my work and I'm working on what I want to work on. But like, I'm still trying to win. Like hidden in there somewhere, hidden behind like me working on my stroke and all that stuff. Like there's still that urge to win. Yeah, and I think sometimes that gets forgotten.
Justin, you're changing your number this year? Yeah, for Kobe.
Yeah.
Very cool.
That's dope.
Yeah. And I don't know, like I was talking to my wife about it. I'm like, I'm an athlete in the LA area still wearing them. I went as far as like looking at like all the rosters in LA, like the Kings, the whoever, like all the major sports. And I was like, I think I might, like when I went through it, I think I was the only athlete in LA still wearing 8. And I was just like, it just feels right. Yeah. Yeah.
What was it like being in, I mean, I don't know if maybe you were not there when it happened, but are you living in California?
I live here.
Okay.
I live here. Yeah.
Okay. What has kind of been like, I guess, the LA sports world feeling? Because we've obviously felt it everywhere in this country, and we've been in New York, but I mean, it hits closer to home there. So what's that been like?
I mean, I just think the reach I don't know if I've ever met a Clippers fan in LA. Mm-hmm. Like everybody's Lakers fans, and like he was a hero for so many people. Like, and he's just a legend, and I mean throughout the country. But in that people lived and died by Kobe in Southern California. So like, there's a lot of people. Like when my number got changed, like people hit me in my DM like, "Hey man, that's so cool," and I'm like, not being from there, like I was a Kobe fan. Like I just like his competitive edge, the way he played the game. And for people who grew up watching him, like, and lived and died by the Lakers and Kobe Bryant, like you could tell that it hit hard. It hit hard down there,
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's going to end when Lakers go through the playoffs and they're making the finals run now. I feel like it's going to be very, I mean, obviously, but it's going to be very, very present for a long time. It feels
I think just forever. I mean, they was chanting Kobe last night. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I don't think it's ever going to go away. I mean, that guy, he's the MJ of this generation. Yeah. Like he's literally the MJ of this generation. So, and I always say it. He worked with so many guys. He had his hands on so many guys in the NBA. From Jason Tatum to Kyrie to, whoever else. I mean, women's basketball, just the impact that he had on the game and just inspiring this group of this generation of athletes. Yeah. I mean, the inspiration that he was to them it's incredible.
I was telling you the other day, we were talking about this, and I was saying, like, every time I prepare for an NBA game, there's some guy on my game boards that I'm preparing, there's like a story about him working with Kobe. Like, and literally the other day I did Nuggets Thunder, and Jamal Murray went to Kobe's like invite only camp this past year. And what was he working on with him? Specifically was working on post defense in mismatches. And what happens, like literally like within the first 5 possessions of the game, twice, Jamal Murray is switched on a big in the post, trying to like hold his own, you know? And it's like, this is so we're able to tell the story. And it's like, man, and this is like, and by the way, both times he got stops. And it's like, wow, like that's Kobe influence. Like Jamal Murray, and he may still have, some room to grow there, but like he used to get, torched in those situations. Right. He goes to Kobe to work for that one specific thing with Kobe. Like it's what you're talking about, hands on these guys, It's like very unique relationship that he had with that. Who do you think, like, who would be, is there like a godfather of baseball right now, you feel like?
Yeah.
Big Papi, maybe?
Yeah, Papi. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. And for me.
Yeah.
To me.
For me too, it'd be Papi. Just his personality, he can relate to everybody.
Right.
He can talk pitching. He can talk hitting.
Yeah.
He's done it in big situations. He's clutch. Like, it'd be Poppy probably.
Yeah. I mean, how many times I catch him outside, talk to.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt like every time we ran into each other, I ended up talking to him somehow. So like, and he always got something to say. That's the crazy part. He always got something for you. You know, no matter what you start talking about, he always got something for you. So I have to say Poppy.
What kind of things is he saying to you when you say he's got something for you?
Yeah, like, you know, you end up talking hitting, like you're around the cage or like you're in the middle of your BP round, like you just anything. Yeah. Like what's going on with you right then? Like it's always, he always has like a little nugget for you.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. That's really cool. You know, I don't know if we've actually ever talked about like the lack of black players that are in Major League Baseball. I mean, I know it's but I don't know if we've ever actually talked about it on the pod. And Justin, you and your brother, I believe, were the first ever black Major League Baseball players to be drafted 1-2 in a first round. I'm pretty sure, right? Your brother was second overall pick?
Second overall, yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you were.
Yeah. What, Dimitri and Delman? No, but Dimitri wasn't that high a pick.
No, I don't think so. I'm pretty sure you guys were.
Delman was first overall.
Yeah. I don't think I'll look up Dimitri, but I'm pretty sure you guys were. What do you guys? I mean, you both are black baseball players. You've gone through your career. Obviously, Justin, you're still in the middle of yours, a 4-time All-Star, 3-time Silver Slugger. What do you think when you look around and see the diminished numbers of African-American baseball players?
Man, I've been saying it. I mean, I said it in 2007. It's tragic. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, when I said it in 2007, everybody killed me. No, it's not. It's not, blah, blah, blah. And it's just the numbers have been diminishing and getting smaller every year. And it's weird. I almost feel like an obligation to try to do something to get more players back playing just because I got into baseball because I seen guys that looked like me. It was Dave Stewart, Dave Henderson, Dave Parker. You know what I'm saying? So that's what drew me to the game is the guys that look like me. So that's why and for me, I always try to never lose myself. Like whatever I am is what I am. I'm never going to I never tried to change who I was because I want kids in the hood to relate to me because that's where I came from. So, yeah, I mean, it's something's got to be done, man. It's really, really, really bad.
Yeah, and I always root. And it's not malicious intent. Like I always root for black baseball players. Yeah, like the guys, I always root for them to do really well because, like, the more black baseball players that are the Mookie Betts, like those guys that are visible, that are winning MVPs, that are in All-Star games, playing in the playoffs and being successful, the more black kids that see the superstars, the guys playing well, the more visible those guys are, the more visible black players are, the more the younger black kids are going to see them and want to be like them. But like, it's kind of on us to be to be visible.
Yeah.
So, and you know what's crazy is like when I first came up, it was like all the Latin guys would hang out. You know, like in the minor leagues, like no matter if there's Venezuelan, Puerto Rican, Dominican, like they all going out together, both teams.
Yeah.
That's what it is for us now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? For the black players in the league, like no matter whether you play first base, you pitch, do whatever, you see somebody on the other side, like y'all probably going to dinner that night. You know what I'm saying? Just because it's not a lot of us that look, we don't have a lot in common with a lot of people in the clubhouse. So when you see somebody else that's African-American, you automatically just gravitate towards them. And it wasn't like that when I first came up.
No?
Because there was so many of us.
Yeah,
that you could really just hang with the guys on your team. Now you can't, you know what I'm saying? Like you can't really hang with the guys on your team because there are none.
And you're kind of keeping tabs then too
1,000%.
Across major leagues on how this guy's doing, how that guy's doing, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there any like solution in mind that you have for that? Like, because the problems identified,
baseball's experience, man. I mean, baseball's expensive.
Yeah.
You got to have the equipment. You got to have the league structures. I mean, just think about, if you got a kid in the hood that has, he's good in basketball or good in football and good in baseball, you can't get a full scholarship to play college baseball. You can only get a full scholarship to play football. So guess what I'm choosing? I'm going to play football. Right. Like my mom couldn't afford for me to go play college baseball. You know what I'm saying? So it just kind of takes us out of the game. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that could be done, but it's going to have to take for Major League Baseball, the Player Association, and the players to get involved and really put a plan together.
Yeah. We were talking earlier, just about 100th year of the Negro Leagues, and I know you're going to be doing a lot of cool stuff throughout the year. And we love Bob Kendrick, who tells the best stories there. I mean, when you think about Negro Leagues, like what kind of stands out most to you as we go into the 100th year?
I mean, for me, it's just the biggest thing. I mean, I visit the museum all the time. It's just I wouldn't be here without some of those guys. And just like the style, like that they played in is still reminiscent of us today. Like how we walk around and play, and me wearing my hat to the side, just different shit. Like it's just all direct effect from the Negro Leagues, and to be able to be in this 100th year and hopefully do some cool things to bring more light to the museum and just the league itself. I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
Justin, you guys, you're teammates with Albert Pujols, who was like one of our favorite guests last year. He was outstanding. What have you been able to kind of learn just from playing alongside a legend like that? Or what's been the best part of being around him?
Dude, I love AP, man. Like, you watch him, man, like, the way he goes about it every day, dude. Like, you would think at his age and how much he's done, like, that he would, just kind of go through the motions. Not go through the motions, but he would just lay back a little bit. But every day he's in the cage. He take a bunch of swings. He's still Albert. He still wants to be. He still wants to be one of the guys. He don't want to. He's not done. He don't want to walk away yet. And you can tell how he worked. But I mean, he's always trying to pick the dudes up. Like I've had my struggles since I've been in Anaheim. I mean, there's no secret to that. But like hitting in front of him or every time we get in the dugout, he's always got something for you. He's like, all right, man, this is what I'm seeing. He's always talking the game, and I love that, man. Anytime you sit down next to him, he's got something for you.
That's awesome, man. I love hearing that. How about when Ohtani came over? Like, what's it like just like witnessing his talent? What were you thinking when he first comes over and just getting to watch him?
I think his tools were like silly.
Yeah.
When I saw him in spring training the first time, he had stupid thump. Like you're taking BP with him. Stupid thump, dude. Like, and then you see him. We had this one. Like I feel like it was his first spring training start, and I was like, I ain't never seen him as a pitcher. I'm standing in left field, and the first guy gets like a little cheap hit, and then another guy, I think he ended up walking him, and you could kind of see him get pissed off. Like I was standing left field, I could see him get pissed off. So he's in the stretch, and then it's like 99, 100 split. Got gone. Next and like he had that extra gear, and I was at that point I was like, I'm sold on this dude, because like he had that like first start of spring training. I'm going to get somebody's ass. Yeah, and like I was at that point I was in on him.
Man, I keep saying this, and people always laugh when I say it. He the best baseball player I've ever seen in my life.
Wow,
are you kidding me? Motherfucker can hit a ball 900 feet and throw 99 off the mound.
Yeah.
Like who else can do it? Who else is doing that, bro?
It's an excellent
point. Like there's nobody else doing that at the big league level. Like, so, and I'm glad he chose Anaheim, because that year, that spring training that he had, and if he would have had that in New York, they would have turned him into one or the other.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right. So like to be able to come, like to have the foresight to know, like if I struggle a little bit, I still can do whatever I want. Like
it's special, dude. Yeah. Like you can't say he's the most successful baseball player ever, but he's the most talented. He's got to be the most talented.
Justin, we these episodes that we do with The Shift, with Major League Baseball Players Association, we like to end with just asking you, what do you love most about the game, and what's one thing you would change about the game? So have you answer that before we get you out of here.
Ooh, what I love, I just love that every single night, like you can go home, sleep, and compete again the next day. Like for me, no matter how bad you do or how good you do, you start over the next day. Like in football, you got to sit on it for a week. I don't like that feeling. In basketball, you might have a couple nights off, but baseball, like the next night you get thrown back in there, and you got to find a way or you out. Like you always got to find a way to compete that next day, no matter how you feel.
And how about one thing you'd like to see change?
One thing I'd like to see change. I ain't got nothing. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut on that. I could probably say some things, but they're not big.
You'd rather end on the love, and we're okay with that.
I'm ending on love, bro. I'm ending on love. I like that. I like that.
Justin, thank you, man. Thank you for being with us. Have a wonderful season, man. We'll be rooting for you, and maybe we'll catch you at Disneyland sometime.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
Off day.
Yeah.
Thank you, Justin.
April.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't have to walk around too much.
Yeah.